So what are the properties of acids? Acids have a sour taste. We talked about that. Acids will dissolve many metals. Not all, but they will dissolve metals. And acids turn blue litmus paper red. So here's a picture of blue litmus paper. It's really more of a lavender color. But when you put it in an acid, it turns red. We say it's really pink. Here's an illustration, a model of a very common acid, hydrochloric acid. I would say you'd be hard-pressed to find a chemistry laboratory that did not have some hydrochloric acid in it. Hydrochloric acid is used in industry to clean metals, to prepare and process foods, to refine metal ores. Hydrochloric acid is also the main component of stomach acid. I have a pet peeve related to the internet. You get all these inflammatory warnings that get passed around, and they're urban myths or urban legends, and they say, "Oh, you shouldn't eat this because it contains acid and it's going to rot your stomach out." Your stomach is full of acid. You would die if you didn't have hydrochloric acid in your stomach. Is hydrochloric acid good for your skin? No, but it's in your stomach to help you digest your food. And so this is another instance where, people identify a chemical as being a bad thing. No, you have hydrochloric acid in your stomach, and yes, it will dissolve metal. It will. And if you eat metal, it will work on dissolving the metal in your stomach too. So just because something dissolves metal doesn't mean that it's not a good thing to eat. Okay, lemon juice is natural, right? Lemon juice will dissolve some metals. Is it horrible for you? No. No, it's not going to be real good on your teeth if you drink it straight, but hydrochloric acid, not necessarily a bad thing. It's in your stomach. Sulfuric acid. This is sulfuric acid, H2SO4. This is its structure. Nitric acid. So sulfuric acid is the most widely produced chemical in the United States. Most automobile batteries have sulfuric acid in them. That's why if your battery is leaking, you don't want to be touching the things that come out of that, because there's probably sulfuric acid in there, and it is bad for your skin. Your stomach acid is bad for your skin too, and that's why GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, I think is what it is, where you're kind of like throwing up a little bit. It just comes part way up, and it will damage the tissue in your esophagus because your upper esophagus is not designed to withstand the acid. If you vomit and you don't rinse your mouth afterwards, the acid from your stomach is bad for the enamel in your teeth. So there's a little life lesson. If you throw up, rinse your mouth with water and get the acid off your teeth. Don't try to brush your teeth. It's actually worse, and probably make you throw up again anyway. So, sulfuric acid and nitric acid, commonly used in the lab, many uses in industry. Acetic acid, this is also called vinegar, which means in French sour wine. So that smell, I don't know if you remember last week, I used glacial acetic acid when we did the conductivity, and it did not cause the light to go on, but it had a very strong vinegar smell. That was straight acetic acid. Vinegar is diluted. It's got a lot of water, but the acetic acid has a very distinctive smell. If your wine isn't stored properly, it will create vinegar, which doesn't make it taste good. It tastes really sour then. These are examples of carboxylic acids which are derived from living organisms. A lot of the acids that we find in foods like citric acid and malic acid are also carboxylic acids. Properties of bases. Bases have a bitter taste. Acids taste sour, bases taste bitter. And bases have a slippery feel. And maybe some of you have experienced that. We've used sodium hydroxide in the lab, and if you get it on your skin, it feels very slippery, okay, because it's starting to dissolve your skin, is what it's doing, which isn't very nice. Bases react with litmus paper in the opposite way, If you have red litmus paper, it will turn it blue. So here are a variety of bases, consumer products containing bases. Which looks more hazardous, this group of stuff or the picture of the acids? The acids were mostly food, weren't they? There are some acid consumer products that would be dangerous to consume, but bases are actually much more hazardous, thank you, much more hazardous to your health, and definitely if you're ingesting them. Malox here, antacids are bases, but they are generally bases that don't really act as bases until they get into your stomach. Tonic water is slightly basic and has a bitter taste. The rest of these things you should not be ingesting. Definitely should not. Really bad. So bases feel slippery, they react with the oils on your skin and they make soap-like substances and eventually will dissolve your skin. So if you have a slow drain in your bathtub because it's clogged up with hair, if there are two different kinds of drain cleaner. One contains acid and one contains base. And if you use the one with base in it, sodium hydroxide is usually, or it may say lye, L-Y-E, that will dissolve the hair clog in your drain like magic. You can use bottle after bottle of the acid-containing drain cleaner, and it really won't help at all. So bases taste bitter. They're much less common in foods. A lot of people like sour taste, at least a little bit of sour, but we do not like bitter tastes, and that's because it's not good to eat bases. So our aversion to that taste is adaptive and helps us to protect us against bases. There are substances in plants, alkaloids, which are basic compounds. They are organic bases. They are natural, and they often are very toxic and poisonous. Coffee overall is acidic, but some of the things in it, such as caffeine, give it that bitter flavor that it can have. So there's my favorite molecule, caffeine. Isn't it pretty? Sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide are very common bases used in chemistry labs. They're also used in industry. Sodium hydroxide is the active ingredient in many drain cleaners. Sodium bicarbonate is the scientific name. Baking soda is what it is. Now, baking soda has a lot of uses. It's an active ingredient in many antacids. It'll neutralize your stomach acid and help relieve heartburn and sour stomach.